Hello everybody, this is Mr. Pilgrim coming at you with the last and final video for the Platinum Trophy Guide for Cuphead. In the last video we'd gone through and done all the miscellaneous stuff that we can do in the first playthrough of the game. We had gotten an A rank on every single boss and gotten all of the coins and bought everything from Pork Ryan's shop, as well as got a pacifist rating on all of the run and gun levels. Quite a task indeed. Now from here, if you're actually wanting to get the other ending, all you can simply do is go back to the devil stage, pick regular. You'll then be given the option of saying yes or no. You'll obviously want to just say yes, and that will get you the other ending and will get you the trophy for selling out to the devil. Now I'm actually going to jump all the way back to Inkwell Isle 1 and talk about at least 3 more trophies that, if you haven't already gotten 2 of them, we'll now go over in detail now. Alright, so once we are back in Inkwell Isle 1, we're going to be using the Root Pack boss fight on Simple to gain 2 trophies if you haven't already. That is going to be for beating a boss using your special and then using your EX move. Basically, all you're going to be going through and doing is just going through the first few stages, getting your super and all that good stuff, and then making sure that you have enough ability to go into that. So I'll go into more detail now. Make sure you're doing this on simple just to save yourself some time. Alright, so the first trophy we're going to be talking about is for defeating a boss using your extra move, or the move that you have when you get a single card. Pretty simple. You're going to use a total of 3 of your supers during the first phase. Then you'll switch to your second gun, which should be the spread shot. You're basically going to want to make sure that you get 4 cards and then have a little bit of the 5th one. Very specific, I know, but if you hit all your parries, it should be just right. So about right there. We'll wait till this is over. But you should get the knockout. Right here, there we go. That was a little bit off, I guess I missed one of the parries. Sped up a little too quickly, but in doing so, that will get you one of the trophies. So now we'll go back right into that fight. Alright, now the second trophy is basically the same concept. The only difference is just that you're going to want to have a full bar when you defeat him and use the extra super move. We'll do the same strategy, just getting more bang for our buck. So now what we're going to do is when we switch over to the spread shot, we're going to go till he does 2 like before. So he'll do, this will be 1. We'll go again until he does it one more time. Kind of lay off a little bit. There we go. You'll want to like kind of pepper him a little bit more, and then you should be able to use the ultimate ability and get the knockout, just like that. That will get you the other trophy. I forget its exact name, but that's all you got to do. So now we're going to move on to the last stuff that you need to worry about, and that is going to be for getting an S rank and all of the bosses on Expert. Alright, so the first boss that we're going to do is Goopy Legrand, and we're going to be doing this on Expert. Now, Expert isn't that much harder than regular. There are going to be some different changes in attack patterns or new things on screen for you to have to worry about, so do keep that in mind. However, all you have to do is at least get 1 S rank on Expert, so getting all your parries, getting all your supers up, and taking no damage. You only have to do that on 1 boss, so picking whatever boss that you are most comfortable with and doing that is what I highly recommend doing. But from here we're now going to go through and show you me getting that S rank, and then just me fighting all the bosses and what weapons I'm using for the bosses to make them a lot easier. Of course, the plain bosses, you can't really change that. So yeah. Alright, so for Goopy Legrand, we're basically going to be just using the spread shot ability. Since it's decent damage. And it'll help us get into that easy stage 2, as you can see. So now we're going to be moving into stage 3. This one will switch to the roundabout. If we can, we'll switch to our spread shot. And we'll just be staying agile. And there we go, and that should be an S rank. The only thing that might stop you is to get a time, but once you do, you'll get the Put on a Show trophy, as you'll see right here. Skill level, 3 stars, S rank. So now we're just going to be going and finding all the bosses on expert mode. Like I said, you do not need to get an S rank. The last trophy that you should have is just to go through and beat all the bosses on expert mode. Once you do that, you will then get the last trophy, and then you will have the platinum trophy. But yeah, so now we're going to skip to all those bosses. Alright, so for the root pack, we're just going to be trying to go for all of those parries. Probably should be one more. No, okay. That's alright. Now I can switch to this. Get our last parry there. Now we can move on to the carrot. Should be almost done now. There we go. That is the second boss done on expert mode. Alright, so the third boss we're going to be taking on is Ribby and Croaks. The main difference between regular and expert is that they like to use their abilities kind of at the same time. I'm going to basically be using Roundabout as all of our main damage throughout most of this fight. During this phase, you're going to try and want to make sure that you get as much super as you can, trying to go for a full stack. Trying to maximize that damage. Then we'll switch to our spread shot for when they come out of it. From here, you're basically just going to be trying to go for using your roundabout to do all of the damage while dodging. Don't worry about trying to use your super all that much, as it's just about staying alive. And then once we can, if we can get our other super, that would be great. There we go, and that should be the third boss down. Can be a little tough at times because that slot machine can fire out those coins quick. Alright, so the fourth boss is going to be Cagney Carnation. Basically going to be using a mixture of roundabout and spread shot. This will help ensure that most of the damage done to him will be pretty decent. Just trying to stay at the back here and avoid getting damaged, if at all possible, will be your savior here. Then when you can, try and get him into phase 2. Just trying to maintain staying in that roundabout will definitely be key here. But eventually we should get that knockout like so. And that will be the fourth boss down. Can definitely be a doozy with all the projectiles and things on screen, but just maintain roundabout supremacy and you will be all good. That will be the next boss defeated in expert mode. Alright, so the fifth boss is going to be Hildeberg. This boss will definitely have way more projectiles and faster speeds of things coming at you, so do keep ever vigilant. I believe that's the correct way you say that. Could be wrong here. When you can, just try and get your ability off. Don't worry about getting parries if you can't get them. Main focus is just trying to have all of your lives and HP. When it comes to the archer, just basically go in circles, and you should be fine. Do be careful of these stars, as they are now ever more present during this final stage. And there we go. That is the fifth boss down. So now we can finally move on to Inkwell Isle 2. Alright, boss number 6 is Jimmy the Great. can be pretty tough at times because he has way more projectiles and the speeds at which they come out is much faster than normal. As you'll see here, way more faster than you would think. So just stay alive, don't worry about getting your parries off, as there will be other opportunities. Try not to take any damage during this phase. It is quite important to hold on to what all you can get in case you need it later on. Now we can move on to the end of stage 2. Trying to keep your super shots towards the middle will guarantee that you're more likely to hit him multiple times. Now we'll move on to the puppet. This would probably be where you get most of your parries off during this stage. As you'll see here. Have a couple more attempts from this. Do be careful of his projectile beams when they come out, and what pyramid is active. And that should be boss number 6 done and out of the way. Like I said, don't worry about your score unless you're really feeling like being an overachiever and going for an S rank. Alright, so the next boss that we're going to fight is Beppy the Clown. You're basically going to be using Roundabout for almost every single phase of this fight, except for the last one, of course. Then we'll switch to our favorite Golden Boy Spread Shot. But as you'll see, Roundabout and its super are going to be big major key players here. Just having those bullets come back just does wonders. As you'll see right here. Now we'll be moving on to phase 3. Phase 3 can be a little bit worrying at times. However, if you want to, you can switch to Spread Shot when underneath him directly to boost some of that damage overall. And then if need be, now we can switch to Spread Shot, like I said before. Now, the final phase can be a bit tricky as there is a lot going on, so do keep that in mind. But all you're going to do is just want to pepper him as much as possible. And that should be it. You'll probably have a little bit easier of a time if you don't get hit by balls along the way, but I believe in you. That will be the 7th boss down. Alright, the next boss is going to be Baroness Bon Bon Bon. This boss can be a bit tough, but Depending on the enemies, of course, will easily determine the difficulty of that. But Roundabout is going to be key here in terms of fighting almost all of these bosses. As you'll see. And just like that, we'll already be on to phase 3. Feel bad for our waffle friend here. But now we'll be on to the actual final stage. This is basically just going to be running and moving away from Baroness Bon 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 while trying to use Roundabout to do most of the damage to her head. As you'll see, using the smoke bomb is definitely going to be key at not taking any damage. If possible. No. And there we go. That was a close one. I almost choked that. But as you can see, Roundabout is king. Now we can move on to the next boss and be on our merry way. Alright, so the next boss is Willy Warbles. This is probably one of the toughest bosses to fight and deal with on expert mode, as he is not fun. He does not play fair. His egg attacks now have 2 additional projectiles to them, and he also does not want to give you any chances to get your super up and running. Being able to get that and then also get out of phase 1 is highly recommended. As you can see right there. Now, during phase 2, it's best not to try and go for parries unless you absolutely can. It's definitely a lot harder than you might think. Whenever you have your actual ultimate ability ready to go, I highly recommend waiting until he is done, as you can still take damage after you hit him with it. So now we'll go for it. And that should be close to phase 3, or if not, phase 3 now. Now you'll have his son, Willy Warbles. This one you also want to try and avoid taking any damage. He will always fire a parryable attack, and when he gets his eggs all nice and clustered up on him, switch to your alternate fire mode, and that will allow you to easily get in some extra damage as well. Get your super going, and then you should be close to the final phase. Now you're going to have to switch back to the alternate fire mode, as that is your main source of damage during this phase. Trying to maintain staying above and or below this one specific bird is going to be key here. But eventually we will get it and be done with this accursed boss that is annoying in all regards. But that will be one less boss on expert mode done, and on the way to getting that platinum trophy.
Here's a real high-class bout, and begin! slamming that stuff. And begin.
Alright, so King Dice is up. First thing first is trying to get all of those HP ups is going to be max. Instead of having the big ability damage, we went for invincibility for having all 5 cards. So from here, it's just about getting all of that good juicy damage in. Now all that's left is the Whiskey Man himself. There we go, that will be boss number 1. Alright, next up is we're going to be going all the way to 5. So we need a 3. There we go. From here we will then get a 2. There we go. That will get us at least another hit point for ourselves. Now while doing this fight, we're basically just going to be trying to stay on the card as long as we can. If we know we're about to take damage, then of course we are obviously going to get off. Once this attack happens, just run over and then switch back to normal, like so. Eventually we should get that knockout. And boom, just like that, we were able to get through the rabbit without taking any damage. So we have 2 extra hits for our King Dice boss fight. That is going to be grand. So now all we need is the rest are 2s. There we go. 1 more 2 will get us our next easy boss. There we go. This can be a difficult slog, I will say. So if you don't get this your first couple of times, don't worry. Try and avoid taking any damage that we can. Try to preserve it all for our big bad boss fight here. Avoid the pool cues. And there we go. As of now, we should be primed and ready to go for the King Dice boss fight. We should have plenty of damage on our side. So now we just need a 2 and a 2 or a 3. There we go. Now we should be all primed and ready. Make sure you got your spread shot before you do this. And there we go. Should be close to getting finished now. And there we go. That is the King Dice fight done on expert mode. A challenge indeed, but a challenge completed nonetheless. Now all that is left is Satan himself. Alright, so the last final boss of Cuphead expert mode that you have to do is Satan himself. Most of these attacks are well choreographed and are understandable / easy to see. The only ones probably that aren't are just the magic ones, the 4, 5, and 6, like so. But you can easily dodge and deal with those fairly easily. But once you can get that super off, be on our merry little way. Then we'll be on to phase 2. Hopefully you have all of your HP when going into this phase, as you'll probably need at least a hit or two. Depending on where you're standing when the axe comes out will determine exactly where the axe will go. So if you're standing here, as you'll see, also do note that the poker chips won't go back to certain areas depending on where you were. From here, it's just about playing your cards right. Then eventually it's going to be a crying fit from Satan himself. And there we go, easily defeating Satan, and you will beat the devil at his own game. And thus you will then have the Platinum Trophy for Cuphead. Pretty easy, right? Alright, so there's actually one last trophy that I forgot to mention, and that is going to be the Rolling Sixes trophy, and that is for beating King Dice without taking any damage. Or what that means is that when you fight King Dice after going through all the minions, that you basically have to get the 3 out of 3. Now, I'm more or less just going to skip having to fight all those bosses again, as beating it on Expert now should give you the regular version a lot easier meaning than everything else. Now, probably one thing that you might want to change is using possibly whatever weapons or super art you want, like invincibility. I might try that out, and then, yeah. So that is the last trophy. I will probably show the fight of me actually fighting King Dice at that point, and having at least 3 HP when I defeat him. Doing so will get you the trophy, and then you should have the Platinum Trophy, finally.
Here's a real high-class bout. Here goes.
Alright, and as you'll see, I just defeated King Dice, and as you'll notice, the HP bonus says 3 out of 3 upon doing Platinum Trophy. Anyways, this has been Mr. Pilgrim. I do hope that these guides have been helpful, informative, or at least given you a sense of how to achieve most of these trophies, or however you would like to do it. This is more or less just a general reference so you can see and know how to do it, as I believe in all of you to earn these trophies. As always, this has been Mr. Pilgrim, and I will see you all in the next one.